I am a wizard. Nowhere in these notes have I written my name, for I am confident you know who I am. I am infatuated with force magic and residuum, and most of my writings is on these subjects. I had a plan to summon pure residuum from the astral plane, but doing so would be dangerous, so I built my tower far from civilized lands in the Hool Marsh. There was an old ruined keep that was unoccupied for at least 3 generations, and it was built upon ruins of an even older civilization. I chose to build my tower here. My tower was made of gleaming white marble and stood out in stark contrast to the ruins around it. At that time, the ruins were fairly recent, having resulted from a minor war some 60 years prior that swept the area of civilized occupants. I was aware that wandering monsters and wandering adventurers would always remain a threat, so I made the entrance to my tower quite difficult. I explored the ruins thoroughly and hid the entrance to my tower deep underground, behind a secret door that itself was in a secret room built by the long-gone owners of the keep. Past that, I installed a series of traps that I could bypass with a correct command word, which I obviously won't write down for some fool to find, but which were otherwise quite deadly. I also installed a backup procedure by leaving behind a set of spare keys to my keep, should I ever need them, but they were hidden and protected by skeletons in an ancient tomb that the keep's builders had inadvertently excavated. I told no one about the keys except this journal, so no one will think to look for them. All in all, the tower was extremely well protected. The simple fact that there was no ground-level entrances or even windows deterred most wandering monsters. I was aware of a few adventurers and marauding orcs who'd try to get in, because I would find their bodies impaled on my spike traps or dissolved in my acid pits whenever I left for a few months to get supplies. But no one ever made it to the tower itself. My next step was to create a summoning stone, my masterpiece. The summoning stone would draw residuum from the depths of space like a powerful magical magnet. The residuum would fall from the sky, crashing to earth. I had no way of catching the residuum, so I decided to protect my tower and my magical magnet behind a powerful magical wall of force. The wall of force would be impenetrable. No physical object, no energy, no prayer or ethereal being could penetrate the wall. It would be my masterpiece, and I would be completely defended from any astronomical impact. Researching and devising such a spell was a great joy for me. For almost a decade, I'd labored in my tower, studying ways to modify and empower a basic wall of force spell. I needed a permanent version that would be large enough to encase the entire tower, and which would also block the falling stones from the sky. I also needed a way to control it, to turn it on and off. Eventually, I devised a spell that would do the trick. I also spent a fortune building a wondrous item to control the spell, a magically enchanted lever. That lever was placed at the entrance to my tower, and I could use it to turn the force wall and lock myself in the tower. When I wanted to leave, I would simply pull the lever and drop the wall of force, and secure the traps during my short absence to make sure nobody else locked themselves in while I was gone. I'd prepared all my materials and readied my lever, and I began the enchantment process on top of my tower. Over the many days I labored and enchanted, until a final word was spoken, and my hair stood on end as I felt the massive force wall surge into place. My tower was now completely encased. I activated my powerful residuum attractor. Now all I had to do was wait for the residuum to fall from the sky. Triumphantly, I went downstairs to test the lever, and there I discovered my fatal error. The lever, which was on the wall of the corridor leading into the tower, was outside the force wall. I had made the force wall just a few inches too small. There was no way for me to turn off the force wall. It was permanent and invulnerable, and blocked teleportation and all other spells, including Mage Hand. I couldn't get to the lever that would turn off my force wall. I'd trapped myself for eternity. So I would live on, trapped in my prison. Eventually I would likely go mad, die of old age, or commit suicide. We shall see. Maybe I'll find a way out. We have acceleration displacement X, where massive speed is kinetic energy of the common directing a particle energy, and then by stant kinetic energy by the the particle in the axis XY. Half volume movement we may work for velocity, and a W, half mv to the second power minus v. The common displacement is X, half m, half to the half mv to the second power. We may then k equals m to the half V, the work is done, and half the symbol K, the work is done, and then K is half. Velocity minus velocity equals T to the V. We call the displacement force action the kinetical buzzing, the middle of the tree. Then the place of the large is the funny, and he began, and then he forced the oak tree, he put himself in a tree. Then he can, in the name of the tree, and the letters and the buzzing and the gold lights under the making time. It's making time, and he began to eat it. Eat it, eat it! So, in the middle of a long bee, Winnie the Sure, said the other robin. Then his pause and buzzing to the bee is quite mad. And you see to himself and the buzzing, and he was sure, and the forest and the buzzing without the buzzing, and I know the buzzing. And at times I have focused on and recompense the compansing. To begin nice improvement and the future, we rescue the computership, the computers available, and the few practiced our strictures. The following quality, following optimal protect, commitment, and mad engage. The competitors are policies, people, source of people, and new meanings, and the practice set appears in the destiny of the world-class level involvement based on my shield. My shield will need to be fully encased in on Y. It's a K and a half M. The buzzing noise, the first, the buzzing, like bees, the buzzing. Eat it. You must survive. You will find a way. He making the noise. The V is climbing under Robin now of an X equals O, and then the common began in the first work down to the, so he himself under the V, T equals MV to the second, Winnie. Then I look for Winnie to the quotations are growing, the receding, the reacting noise. That's it. The reacting noise. We climb, and the particle is that. And we began to play the particle. I needed mage hand. Tenea un ola verde consumptive do sleep per chan more, and is a grotus the more worthy and to see in ill, and it makes the dominance of the grief rub for those dread of death, whose tragus wrath que tienda.